Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU. Start your day the right way with us. We will be covering current events in the news, local, national, and from Wright State. We will provide a daily dose of inspiration and positivity to lighten your day. And we will have a special feature depending on the day of the week. So grab your tea or your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the Wright Morning Show. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM with me, Triple P. It is Thursday, Thoughtful Thursday, October 7th, 2021. And joined with me this morning is Leffy Chipmunk. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm okay. I had a hustle this morning, but otherwise I'm all right.
You had a what?
Hustle.
Oh, hustle. Okay. Sorry.
It's all right. We're going to get right into your current events for today. From WDTN, Fairborn police are looking for suspects in Cadillac converter theft. So the Fairborn Police Department is looking for suspects that stole Cadillac converters. The department said the thieves took several Cadillac converters late Tuesday night. The suspect's car is an older Honda Accord or Toyota Camry. If you have any information on the thefts or the suspects, contact the Fairborn Police Department at 937-754-3000. From WHIO, a Dayton grocery store closes unexpectedly and leaves customers struggling to find convenient alternative. A neighborhood grocery store unexpectedly closed. News Center 7 was there at the Save-A-Lot on Linden Avenue in the Easttown Shopping Center when it went out of business yesterday. Shoppers said they were shocked and surprised by the shutdown. I've shopped at Save-A-Lot for probably 20 years that I know of, Charlene Raymer said. Raymer of Dayton did not know the store was closing until she went to the parking lot. She said the closing was sad. Raymer told News Center 7's Mike Campbell that the closure causes a problem for those who live close by or are used to using the nearby bus stop. There's a lot of elderly people that live around here and they walk to the store. And now they have no store to go to because Kroger is too far away, Raymer said. Sam Harden of Dayton delivers to stores in the Easttown Shopping Center and said that Save-A-Lot closing sends the wrong message. They feel like the people that are in these neighborhoods don't deserve quality food and they don't deserve quality goods. And if you keep doing that, you're telling people that they don't mean anything to you, Hardin said. On the note of bus stops, I did want to also note, this was not in the article, but there is no regular bus line that goes directly around where Kroger is. So that makes it even more difficult for these people to get to Kroger, especially if they rely on the bus to get to a grocery store. Whereas Save-A-Lot in Easttown Shopping Center was right outside line 2 of the RTA. From WLWT Cincinnati, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is conducting a mass casualty training today. The Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is practicing safety first with an emergency training exercise today. The drill is scheduled to simulate an accident with mass casualties. People living nearby should expect to hear alarms and possibly see smoke and fire effects throughout the day. Emergency vehicles will also be moving around the base and some roads will be temporarily blocked. The base is asking people not to call 911. This is just a practice exercise. This comes a month after the base went into lockdown because of reports of an active shooter. No one was hurt in the incident, but it did last 5 hours. Officials say that practicing for situations like this helps clear the base faster and find the emergency. From Dayton Daily News, Schmidt Auto Group is adding a Fairborn store to their portfolio. You can check that out at DaytonDailyNews.com. Another I-75 crash in Dayton causes one injured, according to WDTN. One person was taken to the hospital after a crash in Dayton Wednesday. The Moraine Police Department said the multi-vehicle crash happened at 4:50 p.m. on I-75 North near the LNC Moses Boulevard exit. A person was taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. All lanes of the highway were blocked after the crash, but the scene had been cleared as of 6:15. The cause of the crash and how many vehicles were involved has not been made known at this time. From Dayton Daily News, Ohio Dental Group with several Dayton area offices are reporting a data breach. You can check that out at Dayton Daily News. From WDTN, Legends of the Hidden Temple is returning. It will be on Dayton CW, so don't miss the premiere at 8 p.m. on October 10th. From Spectrum News 1, a new initiative gives retirees new opportunities. The pandemic created a need for workers. In any city in Ohio, you see help wanted signs all over the place. In the Dayton region alone, the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services is reporting nearly 31,000 job openings. Businesses are forced to get creative finding workers. Talent is what many companies are looking for right now, and it's Donna Castor's mission to help connect that talent with companies in need. She's the lead for Silver is Gold, an initiative through the Dayton Collaboratory that helps connect retirees with part-time opportunities with companies that are in need. You can read more at SpectrumNews1.com. From WHIO, City Commission candidate calls for outside review of a controversial Dayton PD traffic stop. A Dayton City Commission candidate is calling for an outside review of an encounter last week where officers forcibly removed a man who reported being disabled from his car and dragged him to a police cruiser during a traffic stop. The traffic stop in question happened Thursday, September 30th on Grand Avenue. Body camera footage that WHIO obtained through a public records request showed officers appearing to pull over Clifford Owensby. Police repeatedly asked Owensby to step out of the car. Owensby previously told News Center 7 that he cannot walk and was out running errands without his wheelchair. Dayton City Commissioner Darrell Fairchild uses a wheelchair and said it is not unusual for someone to leave their wheelchair at home while running a quick errand. Body camera footage showed officers telling Owensby they were going to assist him getting out of the car. "No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't touch me. You're definitely not about to touch me," Owensby said. A standoff continued until officers physically took hold of Owensby and dragged him out of the car. Owensby said he was shocked by the encounter. "I just feel like they were wrong for doing what they were doing, and I couldn't believe what was happening to me," Owensby said. And you can read more at WHIO.com. I don't know about you, and my views and opinions do not reflect the views and opinions of WWSU Radio, Wright State University, nor their entities. But at least the article did not say, so I cannot confirm nor deny whether or not this happened. But I think Owensby should have told the officers that he physically could not walk or etc., having trouble getting out of the car, whatever he needed to do to tell the police officers and let them know that, he was disabled.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not justifying the police officers' actions of dragging him out of the car either, but they had to do what they had to do because Owensby was, openly refusing to cooperate with officers. I don't think dragging him was the right thing to do, to be honest, but officers did need to get him out of the car because he refused to do so.
Did the article say what he was pulled over for?
It did not say, it just said a traffic stop.
Well, a traffic stop could be anything.
Yeah. It could be DUI, it could be possession of drugs, it could be speeding, it could be illegal parking, it could be reckless driving, it could be anything.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So there's a lot of missing information in this article to make a sound judgment call. But from what I'm gathering, it sounds like Owen Speed did not properly tell the police officers his condition, and therefore the police officers were unaware of his condition. And the fact that Owen Speed was openly refusing to cooperate with the police left the police no other choice but to physically remove him from the car. Anyway, continuing on your current events, if you have any opinions on that story, you can leave a message at our website, wwsu1069.org. Click the green play button and click chat with DJ. You could also leave a message in our Discord server or give us a call at 937-775-5555. University of Dayton is creating Flyer Promise Law School Scholarship. You can read about that at Dayton Daily News. A Dayton bike yard is going to be constructed at Welcome Park. You can read about that at the Dayton Business Journal. From WDTN, Dayton Humane Society is celebrating the campus expansion. They held a ribbon cutting and grand opening for its expansion project at the current campus at 1661 Nicholas Road in Dayton. This private event was open to a select group of guests so as to safely celebrate the grand opening. We are devoted to people and animals in our community, said Brian Walsh, President and CEO of the Humane Society of Greater Dayton. We have listened to what their needs are, and through these new facilities, we have worked tirelessly to provide additional resources to ensure all animals are valued and free from suffering in our community. From WHIO, Greene County inmate who walked away from work detail was captured in Beaver Creek. After being on the run for nearly an entire day, a tip of a suspicious person led police to locating a Greene County jail inmate who had walked away from a work detail. Adriel Parks Sr., 43, who was captured in Beaver Creek shortly before noon yesterday. Parks was working at a sheriff's office administration garage, cleaning and washing cruisers in Xenia while he walked away instead of returning to the jail. Parks was suspected to have taken a corrections officer uniform, but the uniform was not located. You can read more at WHIO. All right, we're going to now go to global and national news. First off, from the New York Times. Let's see here. We're going to read up. They have an article about the 80-20 issue with regards to the Democratic Party and how they've moved right on economic policies. You can read about that. Some of the other headlines that the New York Times have today. Senator Mitch McConnell changed his position and said that Republicans would let Democrats raise the debt ceiling temporarily until December. McConnell's offer came after Biden met with business executives who said the risk of default was already hurting the economy. Los Angeles will require proof of vaccinations to enter restaurants and gyms and other indoor businesses now. Home health care agencies in New York are bracing for staffing shortages if more workers do not get vaccinated before a state mandate takes effect tomorrow. Some countries are recommending that children 12 and over receive just one Pfizer dose for now. A report provides new details on how officials fought off Donald Trump's efforts to press the Justice Department to pursue unfounded election fraud claims. A federal judge paused the enforcement of Texas law that bans almost all abortions. President Biden and President Xi Jinping of China agreed to hold a virtual summit. The Education Department is expanding a program that forgives student debt for public servants. 3 Supreme Court justices proposed that Abdul Zubaydah, the first detainee the CIA subjected to brutal interrogation after 9/11, be allowed to testify about his treatment. The World Health Organization endorsed the first malaria vaccine, which could save the lives of many children in sub-Saharan Africa. A strong earthquake hit Pakistan early this morning. At least 20 people died and hundreds of buildings collapsed. The ruler of Dubai used spyware to hack the phones of his ex-wife, a Jordanian princess, and her associates, a British court said. The Dodgers beat the Cardinals in the National League wildcard playoff game 3-1. Rich countries spend about $14,000 per year for a toddler's care on average. The U.S. only spends $500. All right, now going to Cheddar News and Need to Know. From Stat, after a century of trying, the world has its first approved malaria vaccine. The World Health Organization gave the go-ahead for the drug made by GlaxoSmithKline to be rolled out for children in sub-Saharan Africa, where the mosquito-borne parasite still kills more than 200,000 babies and toddlers per year. The vaccine is not as effective as the COVID vaccines, but experts say even a moderately effective shot could save tens of thousands of young lives every year. It's also the first time that a vaccine has been approved for a parasitic disease, which is much harder to inoculate against than viruses or bacteria. From NPR, President Biden is going to Chicago today to highlight the success of employer vaccine mandates like the one implemented by Chicago-based United Airlines, which says it has 99.5% of employees now in compliance. Other employers are reporting success with their mandates too. Tyson Foods, the New York City public school system, hospitals in Maine, and the NBA are among those with 90+% vaccination rates. Los Angeles is the latest big city to require proof of vaccination for most indoor venues and events. Again, stepping away to provide my own personal opinion on this matter, I think one of the reasons why the stat is so high is because those who do not get vaccinated are getting fired and therefore no longer being counted in the statistic. So be mindful of statistics like that. Put your critical thinking cap on. From ABC News, Senate Republicans and Democrats are close to a deal to punt the standoff over the looming debt ceiling until later this year, which would avoid a federal credit default for now. Democrats said that Mitch McConnell caved and offered support for a short-term suspension of the debt ceiling. The procedural wheeling and dealing means that both parties will have until December to negotiate a longer-term deal of the federal borrowing limit, when they're already facing a hard deadline to fund the government. Democrats are also hoping to pass the president's economic agenda by then. From the Associated Press, a federal judge has blocked Texas from enforcing its strict new abortion law, siding with the Biden administration after it sued to block the law from going into effect. The judge used unusually harsh language in his ruling, calling the restrictive law that bans nearly all abortions an offensive deprivation of a constitutional right. Texas plans to appeal the ruling. And this whole abortion fight is really got me in a. Anyway, from Bloomberg. Vladimir Putin says Russia is ready to help stabilize global energy prices by sending more of its plentiful supply of natural gas to Europe ahead of the colder months. Energy prices have been extremely volatile lately, with the price of natural gas soaring 60% in 2 days before coming back down after Putin said he's ready to step in. The U.S. is more insulated than many other countries from the price swings because we produce more of our own oil and gas, but prices are still high enough that it's all but certain to hit consumers in the form of higher heating bills this winter. So be sure to turn down your thermostats and put on those sweatshirts this winter. From VGC, Twitch, the hugely popular game streaming platform, is the latest victim of a massive data breach. An anonymous hacker posted what appeared to be essentially the entirety of Twitch, including the source code and incomes of the top streamers. Some of those streamers acknowledged on Twitter that the data appeared to be accurate. October baseball doesn't get much better than last night's National League wildcard game. The Dodgers' Chris Taylor drilled a 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth to break a 1-1 tie with the Cardinals, sending LA to the playoffs and St. Louis back home, and ending a historic late-season run by the Cardinals. The Dodgers will meet their cross-state rival Giants in the NLDS. From the Wall Street Journal, Netflix is editing out phone numbers that appear in Squid Game after real people in South Korea have been complaining that they've been inundated with prank calls, hang-ups, and texts. In one early scene from the mega hit series, a phone number on a business card is part of a major plot point in the show. But that number connects to a 26-year-old woman in Seoul who says her phone has been ringing off the hook with calls from as far away as Colombia asking if she's the real Squid Game. The prank call apocalypse highlights just how global a phenomenon the show has become. From Fox News, a team of independent investigators say they have solved one of the most infamous cold cases in history. Who was the Zodiac Killer? The Case Breakers, a group of more than 40 former cops, reporters, and intelligence officers, claim they have uncovered forensic evidence and deciphered codes that point to the Zodiac's identity as that of Gary Francis Post, who died in 2018. The Zodiac Killer terrorized San Francisco in the late 60s with a string of unsolved murders, taunting the police along the way with complex codes and riddles sent to the local newspaper. That concludes today's current events. You can read more about happenings in the news coming up in the Democracy Now! Podcast at 10 o'clock this morning on WWSU Radio. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take a break on the Wright Morning Show. When we come back in just a couple of minutes, it's time for your Daily Dose of Inspiration. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Don't go anywhere.
And now,
And we're back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is time for your daily reflection, and today's daily inspiration comes from mindful.org. We're going to be talking about the power of sustainable self-care by Shelley Tygielski. Shelley Tygielski explores how consistently showing up for yourself first lays the foundation for our life's purpose, showing up for others, and how to create your own self-care practice. Have you ever pruned or cut back a tree or a plant and then been shocked at how barren it looks? Only to then watch the amazement as each branch explodes with new life? I used to be reluctant to cut back any plant until someone told me that it's actually good for plants. It goes against everything we think is healthy. How can inflicting such trauma and stress help plants grow and even thrive? This is just a simple example of nature's fight for survival. When we prune the plant or the tree, it then puts even greater energy into growing more. Having been hacked to pieces, plants and trees could decide to give in or just shrivel up and die, but they don't. The same is true for us. When things get tough, we can choose to give in or to give more, to get bitter or to get better. We could choose to mirror nature and face our problems rather than run from them. We can choose to meet the stressors we are facing and use them to help us expand our capacity for resilience and perhaps even thrive as a result. One morning during a particularly difficult time in my life, I was lying on the floor, scared about the future, and I thought about the blessings of this challenge. I thought about the line in Mary Oliver's poem, The Uses of Sorrow. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. At that time, in my box full of darkness were the fossilized remains of a failed marriage. But I also had my son. My physical body was failing me, but it was also asking me to take note and remember to appreciate my health. My mental condition was frightening me, but it also presented an opportunity for me to step into courage. My life had been dictated for so long by other people and forces, my parents, my husband, my religion, societal norms, and now I was free to make my own decisions. This was my reckoning to choose, and I was consciously going to lean into it. I knew that change was one of the only certain things in our lives, and so I had the choice to make. I wanted to get better, and I knew that required me to give more. I wanted to try and accept this box of darkness and see it as a positive thing, a gift, as much as possible. What got me through this turbulent time was writing my own self-care list. Let's turn it to Lafik Jimuk for a moment here. Lafik Jimuk, has anyone ever given you a box of darkness?
So, what kind of darkness, really?
It's up to your interpretation, really.
I wouldn't say, darkness. I would say sadness and a box of sadness and depression and hopelessness.
Yeah,
But,
I can see that.
I don't know if, I guess that would be darkness in a way. I really don't know.
Yeah, I would say like I've had a couple of people give me a box of darkness too. And it's like, how dare you give me this crap or S word that I can't say on the air. But
I know
then
what that
again,
word is.
but but then
Yeah,
again, it's like they are lessons to be learned, even if they are difficult lessons.
yeah. My my yeah, I say former religion, which one that is. Um, I guess that's a box of darkness, because it was just too controlling, too brainwashing, too fear mongering. Um, it really didn't fit in my life. It was never right for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's like, once I got out from my parents' roof, I decided to just do my own thing, follow my own path,
Mm-hmm.
and which I still do now. And I'm a lot happier. It's just a lot better for me. I don't, me, I don't like to be controlled by
Yeah.
anything or anyone.
We all know that, considering grandma.
she she was controlling, but not as much as, like some other people's parents or spouses. I read stories about um other people who control other people, and they're like 10 times worse.
Oh
So,
yeah.
it
I,
made my mom look really tame.
yeah, like at least your mom wasn't so much of a narcissist as a lot of other people are, because narcissism is no joke. That it is a very debilitating condition.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, she wasn't that. She was just, I was her only child, and she kind of like was, one of the helicopter moms before that word was popular. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like I really hardly had any freedoms when I was a kid growing up, and I was just so restricted on so many things. But now, it's like, hey, I'm on my own. I don't have anybody to, tell me what to do.
except
I mean,
Rich.
I don't, what?
Except Rich.
Oh, Rich doesn't even tell me what to do. I tell him what to do.
Oh
I
gosh.
control him. But yeah, that's just, you know, that's how it is at my end.
All right. We're going to continue on the article from mindful.org. Why self care feels selfish. Self care means we commit to taking an active role in safeguarding our mental and physical wellness proactively and especially in times of duress. By definition, self care means doing what is good for us, increasing our emotional and physical stamina, improving our self esteem, and building resilience. Maintaining good self care ensures that we could stay compassionate, impassioned, and engaged. It means doing important work in one area without sacrificing other parts of our life. It means maintaining a positive attitude in spite of personal challenges and the larger injustices in the world. Self care activities create daily improvement in our lives and have beneficial long term effects. That said, these activities are not always fun. Sometimes they're even border on borderline boring. We might feel guilty about self care because it can go against what we've been taught, which is that to be a good friend, parent, spouse, or partner, coworker, and community member, we have to put others first. Self care means putting ourselves first, and we're often conditioned to believe that this is wrong. It's rude. It isn't consistent with how so many inspirational leaders throughout history are portrayed, such as Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Susan B. Anthony, and Margaret Sanger. We admire these individuals because they endured suffering and hardship while practicing self-sacrifice. Proper nutrition, healthy relationships, and exercise are secondary, if not frivolous. They didn't have time for yoga. Two problems contribute to a negative view of self care. The first is what I mentioned above, that self care is often considered self centered. It can imply that caring extends only to ourselves as individuals. but we can expand our definition of self to extend beyond the individual and include our family, community, the natural world, and all sentient beings. Self care actually means caring for the entire community of which we are a part of. It encompasses and protects the larger order. Self care is not about being virtuous. In a way, it means living and working in ways that are consistent with and model how we want the world to work. Additionally, the concept of self care has been hijacked by corporations to create a profitable industrial wellness complex, one that focuses on beauty, happiness, and comfort in the name of self love and self compassion. In Western society, this is mostly geared towards white women of means, but it can include anyone. The main goal of this industry is to sell goods and services that provide only a superficial appearance of self care, one that is often, in fact, indulgent and frivolous precisely because it's a temporary quick fix that only aims to make the individual feel better about themselves. The reality is that authentic self care is unsexy hard work, which isn't an attractive marketing pitch for corporations or brands. The way the term is broadly used today has very little to do with the healthy choices that reflect true self love and self compassion. It certainly has nothing to do with the struggle to survive in the face of political and structural oppression. For communities that are under attack by their own government, and for individuals with little access to health care, fresh food, clean water, and safe housing, self care is a radical act of self preservation. So, what is authentic self care? Authentic self care is for everyone. It's what we all need and deserve, but it can be hard because it's not a quick fix. Ironically, neither is our own inner journey, or something as lofty as social justice work. Seen this way, wellness is one aspect of social justice. And like social justice, wellness doesn't happen overnight. This is another reason that self care has gotten such a bad name. It is much easier to practice self care in easy ways that feel good right now than it is to develop the discipline of a healthy lifestyle that often sucks in the moment but feels really great later. Authentic self care is not self indulgence. Self indulgence is unrestrained gratification of our desires and whims, behaviors meant only to alter our mood and provide a temporary escape from pain and grief. So, how can we tell the difference between self indulgence and true acts of self care? First, ask if what you're doing is a temporary quick fix or something that is meant to yield long term benefits. Sometimes self care is best expressed by setting limits in ways that prioritize what's most important, and this takes discipline. Some everyday examples might include watching only one episode of a TV show and not binging an entire season, so that you get to bed at a decent hour and experience a full night's rest. It might be not having a glass of wine with dinner or only having one, saying no when you don't want to do something, or waking up early so you don't so that you do have extra time to meditate, journal, or exercise before work. The morning when I wrote my own self-care list, which is my response to true despair and a will to survive, I felt an instinctual inner knowing that I had to give up most of my vices in order to truly dedicate myself to self-care, to my healing, and to my overall wellness. If the work we do in the world is larger than ourselves, and for me, at that moment, being a mother to my son was just that, then self care means defining clear boundaries that help ensure our long term physical, mental, and spiritual health. But I didn't give up all my vices. I knew there were healthy indulgences I could still enjoy, ones that provided important moments of joy and happiness. For me, these were defined by even the smallest of actions that helped me restore balance during one of the most imbalanced periods of my life. This included things like spending an evening reading a good book with a mud mask on my face, shutting down my phone and not responding to texts or emails for a few hours of solitude, and having a meal with a friend while engaging in meaningful conversation. I didn't consider any of these things frivolous. My point is this: self care is not one size fits all. We each must decide what's right for ourselves. The biggest challenge I needed to overcome was the guilt and ingrained belief that taking any time for myself was selfish. In the end, what I learned from this experience is that tending to myself is a way to reaffirm that I value myself, and because I do, I must also honor myself. Taking that time to reaffirm in writing that I am not broken set me on a path and positioned me front and center as my own cheerleader and self advocate. Yet I can also proclaim irrefutably that authentic self care is a truly act, selfless act, one that made me into a healthier being, a more engaged mother, and eventually an impassioned self care activist. So that is part one. We're going to do part two tomorrow, where we talk about what a sustainable self care regimen looks like, making room for self care, and creating a community of care. But we're going to take a break on the Rat Morning Show, and when we come back, it is Thoughtful Thursday. And you may have noticed on WWSU Radio, but there's a new segment that airs about once every hour called Hoganisms. So we're going to go through each Hoganism and kind of talk about what it is. So basically, Chris Hogan, one of our student advocates here at Wright State University, recorded about 12 different college tips for students to make use of during their time here at Wright State University. So we're going to go through those and kind of talk a little bit about those during today's Thoughtful Thursday. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes on WWSU 106.9 FM, The Rat Morning Show.
And now, another Hogan.
WSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. For Thoughtful Thursday, we're going to play Chris Hogan's tips for college, which he recorded pretty recently for College Radio Day. And we have one airing randomly about every hour. But I thought we could take the time to go through some of them and talk a little bit about them for Thoughtful Thursday. So let's get on with our first one.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Build relationships with your faculty members, and an easy way to do so is visiting them during their office hours. They may have trinkets and knickknacks around the office to give you some inclination to what some of their interests are. But even outside of that, they're a doctor, so you can probably Google their name, their dissertation, get to learn a little bit more about them, and develop and cultivate that relationship with them. Because at the end of the semester, if you are a student that's in need of that extra boost, they're probably more inclined to do it for the person that they know than the stranger or name on a piece of paper.
So office hours are a really important time or a really important thing to take advantage of, and a lot of people don't take advantage of it. Um, I've heard of students who have used office hours and utilized them and to talk with their professors have basically led them to getting scholarships and internships. Because when you take advantage of office hours, you could talk with your professor. Your professor could get a better idea of what your path is in life and can offer you opportunities and network connections to take advantage of the pathways that you're looking to take in life. So your professors are great resources, especially once you get out of college and start searching for other things to do. So Chris has a very good point there. Speaking of jobs, next, Chris Hogan talks about campus jobs.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Consider getting a campus job. I know it's a lot of campus job or a lot of offices that are looking to hire students. And while the pay may not be as competitive as some off-campus opportunities, the benefits of working on campus, it's a convenient work-to-class commute. More often than not, your supervisor is going to be understanding that you are a student first and may provide opportunities for you to study while you're working. And you go get to develop relationships with other faculty and staff across campus. And so when opportunities come about, you'll be that person or that student that's being made aware of those opportunities.
And yeah, Chris has a point there as well in that segment. Here at WWSU, we have 6 paid directors that work here, including myself. We don't get paid very much. Certainly not enough to live off of. And we don't get that many hours per week to be able to work. Because unfortunately, Wright State is only allowed to allocate so many hours per week and so much pay to student employees. But it is very convenient because these jobs usually take place on campus, so you don't have to drive anywhere after or before class to get to your job. And there's, a lot of opportunities for networking. And faculty members and supervisors of on-campus jobs are required to be mindful of the class schedules of their employees. So, like if you were to work at Meijer or something like that, or, Walmart or some other outside company, employers are not necessarily required to cater to your school schedule. They expect you to cater your schedule around them, even if it means rescheduling your classes or whatnot. And that's very unfortunate. But that's not the case for on-campus jobs. I think Mental Health Awareness Day is coming up, or has already passed recently. Chris Hogan has something about that.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
We get into that time of year where seasonal depression is starting to be a thing. I know the sun is rotated or shifted its position in relation to the earth, and so we won't be having as much sunlight as we were able to have during the summertime. And so we have counsel and wellness services on campus. So if you find yourself with in need of some mental health support, understand that we got some services here for you. And if you find yourself in a crisis, even after hours, there's a phone number you can call, and you can receive assistance for Raiders Cares.
It's a very valuable resource because I know how stressful college can be. There are trained therapists in the Counseling and Wellness Center for you to take advantage of whenever you need them. And even if you can't take advantage of Wright State's therapists, um, there's virtual therapy. Um, there's there's self help therapy. I think it's called Tau Connect or something like that. That Counseling and Wellness Center just recently released on campus. There's a lot of courses that you can watch and participate in to help build up a self care regimen, which we were just talking about in our daily dose of inspiration. Next up,
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Interested in learning more about culture and identity? We have the Culture and Identity Centers over in Millette. We have the Belingo Black Cultural Resources Center. We got ANA. We got the Women's Center. And we have the LGBTQ plus Resources Center. And so even if you're not a member of any of those communities, and if you are a member of those communities, those spaces are available to help you learn more, help you feel comfortable, feel safe. And I encourage you and challenge you to visit those offices to get to know the staff, get to know some of the students, and just get to learn more, push your comfort zone a little bit.
I think that would be a great resource, especially for those who are transfer students or are international students. And even for native U.S. students, they are great resources for learning about other people from other cultures and even getting study abroad opportunities as well. So definitely check those out. Next up,
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Don't feel obligated to spend a lot of money to stay trendy or to look good. Don't be afraid to take advantage of a thrift shop, a Goodwill, spend $5 or $10, and really, if you know what your measurements are, go in looking for things that fit you well, and keep it to the basic.
so the way I look at it when it comes to fashion is why spend 10 times as much for the same thing to look 10% better when you can just spend $10 at a thrift store to get that thing? I don't
And
understand. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Laughing Chipmunk.
sorry, not to mention, some thrift stores carry designer names,
Hmm.
and you'd still get the designer clothes and shoes and purses and stuff, but a lot less than
Yeah,
if you were spending like for it at the mall or something.
like usually they'll be gently used, but as I said, why pay 10 to 20 times as much just to look 10% better?
Right.
Is that 10% really worth spending $300 on a suit jacket when you can get one for $10 at a thrift store?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely take advantage of thrift stores. Next one.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Try to get involved, whether it's with a student organization, a club, or with WWSU's radio station.
Absolutely.
And there's many opportunities to do so, but the benefits include you get to network, so you're going to meet people with common interests. And 5 to 10 years from now, you just never know who might be that person that's a pillar in the community or able to help you take advantage of a job opportunity. That's one of the many reasons why you want to get involved.
And getting involved looks good on a resume. This is something that I don't think Chris Hogan mentioned in great detail in this section in this segment. But when you get involved on campus, all of the experience that you acquire from those involvements looks really good on a resume and greatly increases your chance of getting a job. How many times have you looked at a job application nowadays and seen requires 2 years experience, requires 4 years of experience? They don't just want degrees anymore. They want actual field experience as well. The involvement that you've had on campus counts as experience. So get out there and get involved. Speaking of getting involved, also get organized.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Curious to know how you keep yourself organized. Some people use the old school planner. Some people like to use their phone and technology. Either way, I encourage you to find a way to keep yourself organized. And at the beginning of the semester, the best thing you can do for yourself as a student is to write down the due dates for all of your assignments. Why? That way you never forget what they are or when they're due. Particularly if you use an electronic device, you can set a 15-minute reminder, a day reminder, a week reminder, and you're always looking at your phone, so in theory, you shouldn't miss any assignments.
You know, I do this. It is definitely do that. Like set calendar reminders, set alarms and things like that. Oh, I have class in 15 minutes. I better run. Oh, there's this project I have that's due tomorrow or due in a week that I should start working on. Calendar, the like Google Calendar and stuff is also a great way to structure your time. And you know, you could section out blocks for working on a specific project and then section out another block to work on this homework assignment. Section out a block for your work. Section out a block for self-care. It's a great tool.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
The library, most people often think, oh, the library, it's a place I can study, it's a place I can get books. However, did you know besides books, you can check out phone chargers, including portable ones, and laptop chargers. They also have AV equipment, video cameras, audio recorders with the tripods, and green screens. They got headphones, microphones, and calculators that you can check out. They also have the Student Technology Center, also known as the STAC, which has a recording studio, and they can help you with any multimedia project. But then there also are those private study rooms you can use for yourself or your group.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can get at the library and borrow. In fact, WWSU Radio has borrowed equipment from the library before. We've borrowed cameras to record our DJ training videos and other stuff. So definitely check out the library.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Hey, Wright State, did you know that your Student Government Association here is here to represent you? And if you got a question, concern, an idea, please seek out your student government and allow them to provide some voice to whatever your concern or idea may be. Their office is in the Student Union in the Student Org Complex.
The Student Government Association is pretty much your middle people, so to speak, between the student body and the administration of the university. So definitely SGA is who you want to go to if you have a concern about the university or about student life. All right, we got one more left.
And now, another Hoganism with Chris Hogan.
Unfortunately, you may find yourself in need of legal support. And so, did you know that we have student legal services here on campus? And you need to pay your $11 fee at the beginning of the semester or not waive it. But if you don't waive it, and I highly encourage that you don't, the ladies in student legal services, Stephanie Allen and Jill Sink, are awesome lawyers. I've been fortunate as a student. I was a grad student back in 2009 to 2011. And I had some incidents in which my heavy right foot maybe caused the police officers to pull me over because they alleged me to be speeding. However, I let my lawyer know about it, and I let my lawyer handle it because I paid my $11. So you need any legal assistance, pay that $11 at the beginning of the semester. Seek out Jill Sink and Stephanie Allen, and they'll be happy to help.
They can also help you with legal questions, too. I've turned to legal services once because I was developing a terms of service terms of use contract for an online community, and I wanted them to look over it and make sure that it was legally sound and things like that. And they're willing to help you with that and answer any legal questions you have as well. All right, well, that concludes today's episode of the Wright Morning Show on WWSU Radio. I did forget to tell you the forecast for today is going to unfortunately be rain and a chance of thunderstorms. So it's going to be a pretty gloomy day today, unfortunately. The weather at Wright State University right now is 67 degrees and cloudy. The wind is coming from the east-northeast at 1 mile per hour. The humidity is 90%. Visibility is good. Air quality is moderate. Your 12-hour forecast shows cloudy skies for the next 12 hours, according to tomorrow.io. There could be some showers developing as well. Temperatures are going to reach 70 degrees by 11, 75 degrees by 2 p.m., before cooling off at 6 p.m. Be sure to check out some of the programs that are happening on WWSU Radio from 10 to 11 a.m. So coming up next on WWSU Radio is Democracy Now! Podcast by Amy Goodman and Juan Gonzalez. So get your latest current events and special guest interviews. And then from 6 to 7 p.m. tonight is Rainbow Remedy by M-Wink. So M-Wink covers LGBTQ artists and writers on her show. Really cool show to check out. I believe Raider Sports Podcast might be airing at some point today as well. So the Guardian Media Group and WWSU Radio is going to give you a rundown of Wright State sports. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to today's episode of the Wright Morning Show. We are here every Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on WWSU Radio. Thank you, Lafayette Chumma, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And everybody have a great morning, or great day.